Hey, what's up y'all? Welcome to another video on my channel. Today I want to talk about something that I've noticed a while ago. As y'all know, or as y'all could imagine, I'm getting a shit ton of collabs back on my Discord server. I'm getting tagged in Instagram stories every single day with people cooking up on my loops, doing beats with my stuff, whatever, just collaborating in general. And there is one initial problem that I see a lot of producers doing and that I also want to talk about in this video, and this is definitely the mix. A lot of producers have problems with making sure that their beats sound clean, that they have that industry standard, and that every sound that they add sticks out, you know, has a space to breathe, that the 808 knocks, that the kick knocks, and all that type of stuff. So that's why I thought, why not make a video about it, show y'all how I mix and master my beats. I'm only gonna do this with stock plugins, so you won't need any VSTs for this. I'm using FL Studio, but you can also use any DAW. So yeah, I would say let's not talk too much and let's get straight into it. And yeah, for today I've prepared a beat that I've already made to just show y'all, as I just said, the process of me mixing, mastering a full beat. And without any effects, without any leveling, without anything, the beat sounds like this. So very lifeless, very flat, you know, it's just not hitting the way it should. Yeah, so the first thing that you have to make sure definitely is to make sure that every single melodic element that you have has its own space. So as you can see, I've got this piano right here, then I've got this synth phrase, and then I've got those two vocals. And our goal is now to, you know, give every sound its space and to just make everything fit together. So what I always start with basically is leveling. And to do that, we first have to send all of the sounds that we got to a mixer channel. And you can do that by hitting Command and L. And yeah, then as I just said, you have to kind of figure out a good volume for each sound. And there's not really a formula that I can give you of how loud a piano should be, of how loud a vocal should be. You have to figure that out on your own, and it's all personal taste. But what you have to make sure is that every sound is noticeable and nothing is too loud or too quiet. I think you can kind of figure that out. Yeah, I think something like that should work. And yeah, now to make it even more clean, we have to add some EQs. And what's very important now is to have a look at the overall image of an equalizer of all of the melodic sounds. So as you can see, some sounds, you know, for example, the piano plays more in the low mid area. That synth phrase is very present in, you know, from 1K to 5K maybe. And the vocal is very present in the mid area. And that's something we gotta keep in mind when we're EQing this now. So first I'm just gonna start with this synth phrase right here. So as you can see, we don't have any unnecessary lows right here, which means we don't have to add a low cut. But I still lowered some at 580 Hertz now, because I thought that there was a lot of, you know, frequencies going on. And this is also the area where I want the vocal to be very present. So I'm already carving out some space for the vocal now. Now for the vocal. I just removed some highs and also some lows that were unnecessary. We don't need them, so I just cut them out. You don't hear them, and it just adds frequencies to our overall image that we don't want, and which, as I just said, just unnecessary. Same with this vocal, and finally the piano. Just a simple low cut at 50 Hertz or something, so we don't have too much lows going on. And yeah, once we got that done, we have to think if there's any special effects needed. So whether that's delay, whether that's reverb or anything. And I'm gonna say it in advance, be careful with special effects, especially with reverb. I hear a lot of people overusing reverb, so they're just adding too much reverb. That way everything just sounds muddy and washy, and you kind of don't get that clear and industry sounding feeling anymore. Sometimes a lot of reverb is also, you know, like kind of an art, and it sounds really good, but most of the time I would say rather be careful with it than adding too much all the time. And I definitely want to add some reverb to our vocals first, especially to this one, because it just cuts off right here. Just like that. And with that decay knob, you can decide how long the reverb tail should be. So right now in the top left corner, you can see that it's on 5.5 seconds. So the reverb tail will be 5.5 seconds long. And the wet knob just says how much reverb you want to have on there. On this vocal, I don't want to have too much reverb. And then also just a little bit of reverb to the synth. Just like that. We don't need any reverb on the low piano because it's just a low piano, and we don't want to add a reverb on low frequencies because that sounds really muddy. And I would say that was it mixing wise for the melodic part of the beat. Now before we're gonna come to the drums though, we have to do two more things, and this is routing all of those sounds to its own insert. So you can just select all of these sounds and then right click this arrow on an empty insert, and then hit route to this track only. That way all of those sounds will be sent to this insert, and this insert will be sent to the master. Now what we can do is we can add general effects on this insert, which is needed to add some drums, because what we have to do now is to cut out the lower frequencies of the sample. So all of those from 50 to maybe 150, 200. Why? Because we want to add an 808 later on, and if we have all of those low frequencies in the sample and we add an 808, then everything just clashes and we don't have a good sounding beat anymore. And to be honest, what I always just do is I add this loop cut preset from my Mix Essentials kit, cutting out those unnecessary lows, and then also a patcher with a mid side EQ. On the side EQ, I just remove some more lows, and that just means that we don't have any stereo frequencies in this area, which I just cut it out, because stereo lows also sound pretty muddy. So that means all of those frequencies are still stereo, but the ones that we removed are mono now. And now the final thing before we come to the drums is to master this thing. And I know you probably ask, why should we master it before the drums? And that just has the reason because what we're gonna add on the master is a soft clipper, and with the soft clipper everything sounds way more different. So if we would, you know, mix all of the drum sounds now and then add the master, then, you know, everything would sound different and we would have to mix it again. So that's when we're gonna add the master first. And same thing as with this loop cut preset, I also got this master preset right here, which is basically an EQ and then a soft clipper, as I just said. And yeah, now we can come to mixing the drums. And without the master and without any mixing on the drums would sound like this now. And if we just add the master, then it sounds like this. So it already sounds 10 times better. Now what we need to do is to do kind of the same thing as we did on the melody. So give every sound its own space, make everything breathe, and just make everything shine in the mix. And the way I always do that is I select all of the drum sounds and then I turn them down like this. I just do that because I have a better understanding of how loud every single element needs to be. And now I kind of do the EQing and the leveling in one step. So for example, if I want to EQ and level this clap, I'm gonna just turn it up, add an EQ, remove all of the unnecessary frequencies, and then adjust the volume. Same thing with the hi-hat. Unnecessary frequencies. And just to save us some time, I'm also just gonna use those presets, which are, by the way, all from my Mix Essentials kit. So if you want to check it out, I'll put a link to it in the description. Next one. Then the 808. On the 808 you kind of have to, you know, find a sweet spot of too loud and not loud enough, and this is again sadly just personal taste. So you kind of have to ask yourself, how hard do you want it to hit? And on this beat I think it's cool if it's very present, if it, you know, really sticks out. So I'm just gonna find like cool volume, something like this, where we still have, you know, that crunchiness, but it's not loud enough that you don't hear all of the other sounds anymore. I think that's pretty cool. And then finally just the kick. And now you can see that actually the melody is not loud enough anymore. So we just have to adjust it. So it's kind of between -15 and -12 dB. For the melody, that's, you know, the volume that I always aim for. So melody -12, -15, somewhere in that area. If it's a bit more quiet or a bit more loud, that's also okay. So somehow like that. And the final thing that you also can have a look at is to pan some certain sounds at the end. So to generate a more interesting stereo image. And what I really like to do for that is to, for example, pan the hi-hat a little to the left. And maybe the open hat a bit to the right. And also the same with the melodic part right here. So I'm just gonna pan the first vocal a little to the left and the other one to the right. Now before we're able to render this beat out, we have to do one thing. And this is adding the lows again in the part where the 808 doesn't play. So on our melody bus channel, I added this low cut right here, cutting out the lows so the 808 has its space. And what I always do is I right click this, create an automation clip, and turn that EQ off in the parts where the 808 doesn't play, because, you know, here we still need those lows, but just where the 808 plays, we don't need them lows anymore. So just turn off the EQ in those parts, then our beat is done. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I really hope that I could help you and give you a small insight, you know, of how I mix and master my beats so they hit hard, they sound clean, and that they're ready to be sent off. If you got any questions about mixing or anything else, just let me know down below in the comments. Also, don't forget to check out my Mix Essentials kit if you want access to all of my presets that I'm using. The kit is actually categorized, so you got general presets for all genres. Then you got presets for R&B and melodic beats. Then you got presets for hard trap beats, for any instrument basically. And then also this stock presets folder where I remade a lot of those presets with stock plugins, and then also those drum presets that I was using in this beat. So if you want to level up your mixes or just speeden up your workflow, then go check it out. It's the first link in the description. But with that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.